It's the middle of 2022. I'm sat there on my floor of the apartment I'm living in, on my iPad, on Discord, and I'm just playing this random shooter game with my friends at this point. And you have to understand at this point, this is COVID. So I literally just woke up. I didn't even brush my teeth. I have like stank ass breath while I'm playing the game. All I did that morning was I looked over to the side of my bed. I unplugged my iPad. I made sure it's 100%. And I just got on the game. And I don't even know at this point how long I've been playing. I'm just sat there on my floor with my friends. We're just like just talking about random stuff. When I hear my door creak open, and immediately as I'm sat there, I know what's about to happen. I look over and I see my dad walk into the room. And I know what's about to happen again. I can just picture what's about to happen. He comes over to me. And he doesn't even tell me anything. He just snatches the iPad away. I have to tell my friends, I have to go on mute 1 second. And so I give the iPad to him. And this time he doesn't even yell at me. He just goes over to the screen time part of the settings app. He looks at the number and he shows it to me. And it's a pretty big number. It's 11 hours. I'd literally been on the game. I'd been on YouTube. I'd been on the hub for over 11 hours today. And he doesn't even get mad at me. He just tells me, look, this is enough. Go to your desk and study right now. And so I'm not going to start yelling at him. I just go over my head down. But as I'm sat there on my desk, trying to get my brain to focus on like this math workbook that I'm forced to do, I just have this thought for a second, this frustration, this pain that I'm feeling. And I just think to myself, why are all the good habits so difficult? Why can't they be more like gaming, like scrolling, like these things I enjoy doing? The reason I tell you that story right there is because I know what it's like to feel stuck, to feel like I have these goals, like this desire to improve in real life, to stop getting fat shamed, to actually improve myself. But I never did it. For over 4 years, I was just stuck in this phase where I was fat and I hated it. I never accepted that BS fat acceptance stuff. I hated getting fat shamed every day. I hated feeling insecure. But I never made any progress for 4 years because I never knew what I'm about to tell you in this video. The advice I'm going to give you in this video took me from this down bad, fat, insecure gaming addict to now having lost over 17 pounds and quitting all of my addictions. And so let's just get right into it. The first step that I had to go into to fix my life, to actually start making progress, was to actually understand why I was so miserable, why I just couldn't bring myself to do any of the good habits. And the problem is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to cock block you and like drag out the video. The reason I was so unmotivated, I wanted to lose fat, I wanted to do good habits, but I just didn't bring myself to do them, was because at this point in my life, my default state was just pleasure. Video games, scrolling, gooning, going on the hub, junk food. All of these were my form of escaping because I didn't like the person that I was at the moment. Because when you're getting fat shamed every single day as a kid, when you literally feel like you're beneath your friends, you're beneath the other people, you look for ways like gaming and scrolling where you actually make progress, you feel accepted. But there was a problem with that. The problem was, even though I was on these games like playing video games all day, eating junk food, scrolling 12 hours a day of just fun things that I thought I liked doing. The truth is, I was still miserable as hell. I genuinely hated my life. I couldn't bring myself to look in the mirror. I would punch myself in the stomach because when you level up all day in a game, your life is just going to go downhill. You're just going to feel like you're screwing yourself over. You feel like you're beneath others. And what's even more important to realize is that when you're playing video games and junk food and you're going on the hub every single day, you start to make that your baseline. It starts to become this point where you don't even play the video games to feel fun. You play it to feel normal. And so when you're used to this amount of pleasure, when you try and force yourself to lose fat and do stuff that's down here on the pleasure scale, you feel unmotivated. You feel semi-depressed. You feel like there's something wrong. And you go back to these things here because they're more comfortable to you. See, you're going to think I'm an out-of-touch asshole. You're going to think that I'm genuinely out of touch. You think I'm going to be... You're going to hear the advice I'm going to give you right now, and your brain is going to turn off. But the truth is, the way you fix your life, if you're the same phase that I was in, is not through adding some crazy 5 a.m. morning routine or some crazy anti-gooning course with 7 hours. You don't need to do any of that. You need to remove the stuff that's ruining your life. So these addictions like junk food, scrolling, gaming, all of these things are the problem. They're the coping mechanisms that you've been using to try and feel normal. But if you want to fix your life, we need to bring our baseline down from this overstimulated iPad kid level back to a normal baseline where now the good habits don't feel like they're torture. And you're going to hate this advice. If I told myself 5 years ago, oh yeah, just get off the gaming, get off scrolling, and your life's going to improve, I would have just flipped you off. I wouldn't have cared about whatever you're telling me. But it's the truth. Because here's the thing. Whenever you got off a 10-hour gaming session, you just got off the game, you never thinking, oh my god, I'm so happy I wasted 10 hours of my life on a game that I'm going to forget about. Wow, I'm so happy I literally just ate that junk food that is going to make me get fat shamed even more tomorrow. No, yeah, I'm so happy. But it's never happened. It's never happened. You always feel more miserable after you do the fun things because pain comes after you do something pleasurable. Pleasure now just means pain later. So the solution to this, and again, you're going to hate me. You're going to think that what I'm saying here is out of touch, that I'm a prick for saying this. You have to get rid of these addictions, these things that are ruining your life. And you're going to say, oh, yeah, but it makes me happy. It makes me feel like I belong. It makes me feel like I'm making progress. But again, you're never going to feel happier doing something that's going to ruin your life. It just makes you feel happy in the moment. It lets you escape right now. But then your life just immediately gets worse. And then you might say from that, oh no, but Atharv, all my friends play. So if I get rid of the gaming, if I stop playing video games, if I get rid of these things, I'm not gonna have any more friends. But the truth is, I'll give you a story. Back when I quit video games for the first time, so this was back in mid 2023. I decided for now that okay, I'm not gonna be a loser fat ass anymore. I actually want to make progress. So I deleted the games. I deleted Minecraft, Fortnite, all these games I used to play. And I put in this little text on the Discord, on the thing that all the boys would talk on. And I expected there to be some outrage. I expected there to genuinely be an argument or something. But no, I just got ghosted. And so the next day, I'm just sat there as usual. I'm trying to do some good habits now. And this is more later on in my journey when I actually did things like work out and study. And I get a text from one of my friends, one of my gamer friends. And he's like, bro, you want to get on the game? Let's go on. It's been a long time. And I was like, nah, dude, I'm busy right now. I can't. And mind you, this is the guy that I literally played video games with every single day for the last 2 years. We get on after school, during winter break, during summer break, literally just immersed for 10 hours a day with this guy into these video games. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then he messaged me the next day. And I tell him, no, I can't. But the third day comes around, and I don't even get a message. The guy that I'd played these video games with for 10 hours a day forgot about me in just 3 days. And the reason I told you that was because what I've realized after both playing video games for hours every single day to not having played any is that they're not actually your friends. Like, I could make a whole video about this, but they're not actually that close to you as you think. You're actually friends with the game. They just make it more fun to be on the game. And so that's why I would play video games every single day with them. But I realized after literally getting forgotten about after 3 days that it's not even that good of a friendship anyway. And you know what's really interesting too? Those people, those friends, if you were to rank them from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like loser fat ass Genshin Impact players and 10 being like these jacked like David Goggins kind of guys, honestly, those guys were like a 3 out of 10. Like, I literally have conversations with these dudes where they would defend gooning. They would defend these habits, these outrageous habits, with these excuses like, no, it actually improves your testosterone, and eating junk food, it's calories, right? It's good for muscle growth. Like, they'd give you all these BS excuses. They'd give me these BS excuses for why what they were doing was okay. And what I've realized is that if you hang out with these people every single day, you're going to be limited to their level. So if for example, these friends that you're with are these kind, respectful, genuinely decent people that are actually improving in life, be my guest, go be their friend. But if you wouldn't want to be in their shoes right now, if you know that their life trajectory is going downhill, then you can stay friends with them, but you're not going to make any progress until you cut them off. And again, I know for a fact that younger me, I would have hated knowing this advice, but it's the truth. So I've gone over all these things, like why I was miserable. It was because I was literally just on the game, on the hub, on YouTube every single day, the entire day. So how do I get out of that? How did I go from this fat little Genshin Impact player to actually doing the good habits? Well, the best way to do it is to give you an analogy. Imagine that you load into a new game, just any generic game that you just start getting into. And you're sat there, you're just looking around this new biome, this new world you're in. You can see the final boss arena later on. And you're just sort of taking it all in when you see the same thing. It's this icon that pops up. And it's this guy telling you, hey, here's your first quest. Go get 5 pieces of wood. Go get 1 piece of iron armor. Basically, it's this really easy quest that starts you off, right? It's always like that. It's always some easy thing that starts you off. And so you do it. And it takes like 30 seconds. But then you feel the victory sound. You hear it go off. You feel that progress being made. You can see the level bar go up. And then you just get hooked like that, right? Suddenly you're on the game for 2 more hours. You just start grinding through those quests. Because even though they were really easy, they somehow hooked you into staying on for longer. The reason I told you that analogy is the truth is, every time I tried to improve my life, I would do the exact opposite. I would literally force myself to try and get into a state where I was doing no bad habits. I'd literally quit junk food, gaming, scrolling all in once. I'd try and work out for an hour a day and study for an hour a day. And so what would you think would happen? Do you think I stayed consistent for that entire phase? No. I stayed a fat ass. I'd quit after like 3 days because the truth is, even though our goal is to, of course, get into those good habits, like, first of all, getting rid of those bad habits and also getting into things like studying and school and working out. If you do it the wrong way, you're never going to stay consistent. The thing is, it's not about doing the good habit once. Most people think of it like a New Year's resolution where you just sit there and you go, okay, I'm going to work out every single day, and they'll write like the gay little post on like Instagram or something. And then that's it. But they never make any progress because it's not about the one-time event or the secret pill that I could give you that would make you lose 20 pounds and gain 4 inches. That's not the point. It's about doing what I found for things like losing fat in particular. I had to actually stick with the good habit long enough to see results. And the only way to do it is to use the method I'm going to give you right here called the starter quest method. And here's how it works. Basically, what I want you to do is I want you to take a paper out right now and just make a little title on the top, like studying or working out. Pick one habit that you want to improve on. And put up studying habit tracker or studying work track, like studying quest tracker. That's what I wrote. I remember deadass. That's the first thing I wrote. And I learned all of this from this book right here called Atomic Habits, where basically what you have to do is you have to make the difficulty level for the habit so easy, but you genuinely feel retarded while you're doing it. You feel like, wait a minute, how does 5 minutes of studying even help me? But here's the thing. Put out 1 or 2 habits right now. And by the way, I did this for like 2 weeks. And it genuinely took me from doing 0 minutes of studying to doing half an hour of studying, working out every single day. So I know this stuff actually works. So just hear me out. Write out studying quest tracker. And all you have to do is just write out numbers 1 through 7. So that represents the next week. And all you're going to do is you're going to track how many times you do the good habit. You might think, okay, that's retarded. How is that actually going to help? Well, here's what you have to do. You're going to set the difficulty level for this quest to be absurdly easy. So, for example, I literally started out with just 2 minutes of studying a day. And I can already hear you. What the hell? Atharv, 2 minutes a day studying is retarded. It's not going to do anything. But that's not the point. We're not trying to go from level 0 to the level 10 task of studying for an hour a day. Because that's what 99% of people do. And guess what? That's why 90% of people never lose fat and never make progress. What we're trying to do is get the little pieces of XP so that after a few days of working out or studying for just 2 minutes a day, so literally just doing like 10 squats, doing 5 minutes of studying, once you're done that, you can level up. So maybe you double the duration from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. And then you repeat it. You track every single day, almost like it's a level bar, how many times you're doing the habit. And guess what? If you do this, you're going to think it's retarded, but you're actually going to stay consistent versus just trying to do another 10-hour study session like you're some random Asian from China, like trying to actually do the level 10 task when you're at level 0, but that's not how it works. When you get on this method, here's what's going to happen. First of all, we're doing something completely different. Rather than trying to track the results, like how much fat you lost or how many percent your grade went up, we're actually just trying to track our actions, the things that we can control. Because here's the really important thing to realize. The other reason that you're probably struggling so much with losing fat, losing fat in particular, I literally stayed stuck for 4 years because I didn't understand this. You're not supposed to track the output, the amount of fat you're losing, how big your meaty biceps are. Like I'm joking, I'm kind of small. I'm trying to improve that, but you're not supposed to try and track the output. Because you can't actually control whether you lose fat in 2 weeks or in 2 years. Genuinely, it took me 6 months to lose the fat. And the important thing to realize is the results that you're trying to go for aren't like this straight line. It's not like you work out once and then it goes up a little bit and then goes up a little bit. You're actually not going to see results for weeks. This might be like a 4-week period, 2 months, 3 months, where you're literally going to work out. And you're going to feel retarded. You're going to be like, wait a minute, is it working? Is it working? Because there's no results yet. And it's only when you push through this phase where you actually see a crazy amount of results. But that only comes after you go through this period of doing the actions and not getting the results. So here's the thing. Who is smarter? The guy that literally goes over to the scale every single day. He's looking at it. He's like, oh my God, no. I haven't lost any fat. I guess I might kill myself now. Versus the guy that just tracks, okay, did I work out? Did I do a little bit more of the good habits? Did I, for example, do a little bit less of the gaming or the scrolling? And I'm going to go over how to do that later. When you focus on the input, you're automatically going to get the result either way, right? So it makes no sense to try and focus on a thing that you can't control, like trying to lose fat, when you can focus instead on the input. Because even though it takes you 3 months to lose fat, it only takes you 5 minutes or 10 minutes to hit a quick workout or to go on a walk and get some sunlight. So when you track those things with this habit tracker, it becomes so much more motivating because you can see progress quicker. You can literally see progress just by working out rather than waiting to try and see, oh my God, did I lose fat or not? Because imagine if I did that with YouTube. You're seeing this video right now. Imagine if every single day I would look at the subscriber count. I would literally goon to the YouTube algorithm to try and get more subscribers, get more views. Would that actually do anything? No, right? It would be retarded because the way you succeed is through the input. So in my case, it would be making better videos. If I put all my attention into that, I would automatically get the result. So this is a system that I genuinely used to actually fix my life. But you might be thinking, okay, Atharv, you literally told me to get rid of the habits. So then why are you telling me to instead do more good habits? That doesn't make sense. But here's the thing. If I told you right now, okay, get off scrolling, stop playing video games every single day, even if you tried to follow it, what would happen is that you would have this weird void, like this weird empty space in this day where you'd have like 10 hours, which you have to fill up somehow. But because it's so boring, because you don't have anything to replace that time with, you're just going to go back to playing and gooning and not having any actual good habits like I had it. So instead, what I had to do was first introduce the good habits through the starter quest method. And then after that, once you, for example, start working out for 20 minutes a day, you start improving yourself by studying, by getting into reading again, something that you used to love but you stopped doing because there was better things like gaming out there, right? When you start introducing these habits, you can also start slowly decreasing the bad habits. And that's how you fix your life. So how I did it was, first I got into this really tiny phase where I was just like working out for a couple of minutes a day. And I stopped one bad habit. So I started to stop solo gaming. Because it's boring as hell anyways. I didn't want to do that anyways. It was boring as hell. It was mind-numbing. Because you're literally just sat there staring at this random game, not actually doing anything. So I eliminated solo gaming. And I put in place reading. I stopped after that. After a few weeks, I got rid of most short form content. I didn't go on YouTube Shorts every single day like I used to. And I got into more studying. I got into working out. You see, you slowly decrease the bad habit, but you can only do that when you have something to replace it with. Like these good habits that we're building right here. So if you follow that exact method that I gave you, you're not going to look back and be disappointed. You're not going to look back and feel like you're beneath others anymore. Because you want to know the craziest part? The best part about getting into these good habits isn't just, oh yeah, you get a little bit more toned. You start to get a little bit more muscle, or you start to get respected. The best part about improving yourself, in my experience, was actually just the fact that I started to respect myself more. You know, that little voice in your head that tells you that you're beneath others because you're fat, because you're lazy, that goes away because you start to prove to yourself that you're not that person anymore. When you see on your wall this paper stuck up and you see that you're actually doing the good habits, suddenly you don't have to go to the mirror and punch yourself in the stomach anymore. Suddenly you start to respect yourself. And I make these videos because I never want to feel that way again. And I don't want you to have to stay stuck in that scenario anymore. So if you found that this video was useful, that I was able to give you advice that you actually felt related to, well, I set up a free Calendly link. It's basically this thing you can do to just schedule a call in with me. And I can just give you a free 30 minutes of my time to just give you some one-to-one advice if you actually found value in this video. And if you have actual one-to-one conversation with me, you'll probably make even more progress anyway. So go and get your free 30 minutes if you want. I don't really care. Just go. You can book multiple if you want. I don't really care again. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.